The things I'm addicted to right now might be comparatively stupid, like doom scrolling and my addiction to ramen. And I know that doesn't sound as bad as compared to drug addicts, but it's still considered an addiction. In my opinion, there are two main forms of addiction, the good ones and the bad ones. And I think many people have bad addictions even without realizing it. Excessive screen time, food, caffeine, scrolling, sleeping, laziness, all of these things are addictions because addiction, according to Google, is repeated engagement with something that involves loss of control despite knowing the consequences. When you do something that the brain perceives as pleasurable, it causes a surge of dopamine, a chemical in the brain that gives a sense of pleasure and the desire to repeat the same experience. Addiction starts because over time the brain starts producing less of this dopamine. This means the person no longer feels the same pleasure from the normal activities like eating or socializing. And this makes it harder to resist urges, even when the person knows the behavior is harmful. The result is a never ending cycle of short term relief which fuels the endless loop of addiction. Addiction doesn't stop on drugs or alcohol. Even emotions like sadness or anger can be a form of addiction because our brain can get used to the chemical patterns we create. Our brain might like anger or sadness if you're constantly being in that emotion. This is why the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The strong is not the one who overcomes the people by his strength, but the strong is the one who controls himself while in anger." I try to tell people that even though drug addicts did make the choice to pick up and just try it for the first time, and chances are that they likely heard drugs are bad and they even heard things like never to do them. None of the addicts actually went into drugs saying, "Hey, I think I'd like to become a drug addict. Starting today, I'm gonna try some meth." Sometimes people even question things like free will because if they are addicts, then the chemical in their brain seems to be in control, not them, right?
Really have much info. I mean, what are you going to tell? Are you going to tell him it's you and only you that can make the decision to kick the habit and stop drinking? Or I've always wondered about this.
Well, addiction does impair your ability to choose freely because it changes the brain structure, especially in areas of self control. But this doesn't mean free will disappears completely. Yes, it does become harder to make healthy choices, but not impossible. In Islam, there's a concept called jihad an nafs, the struggle against the self, which basically says your worst enemy is your nafs, and your nafs is your desires. And the best way to fight it is through fasting, because fasting builds self mastery. It teaches you how to say no when every part of you wants to say yes. Modern science proves that fasting can reset dopamine pathways and reduce dependencies on reward triggers. Another way to break out of addiction is through something called dopamine detox. In addiction, dopamine gets overstimulated and your brain gets used to the highs and normal life starts to feel boring. So, dopamine detox resets the levels of dopamine. The idea of dopamine detox is simple. Take a break from all those instant gratifications like doom scrolling or eating carelessly. Give your brain space to reset and let boredom return. Start by becoming more self conscious of what triggers that dopamine and then try to limit it. Like, limit scrolling to just 1 hour a day. Track your screen time and try to reduce it. It's like fasting, but from activities that release dopamine. And finally, remember this, your body has a right over you. You need to care for your body by not abusing it, but by feeding it with what it needs, not what it craves.